Hello, everyone. I am just getting a quick drink, real quick, and then we can get started. While you're coming in, please tap the screen, share the live out to your friends, and send your daily heartbeat. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. My name is Joni. I'll be your OVC host for tonight. We are going to be interviewing Carolina Buhler, who is running for California governor. Yeah. California governor. So Carolina, who she is, she's originally from California. She's a student, a researcher, and community advocate studying earth and environmental science at UCLA. She has worked as a tutor in physics and computer science. She's here. Okay, let's see. Miss Carolina, let me invite you up. Hi, everyone. Hi, Ayana.
Hello, is this,
Hello.
can you hear me?
We can, yes. Do you know how to turn your camera on?
Um, I'm glad, it's funny that you asked. Let me see if it works. I've had a day. I drove 100 miles today, and my dad is, he's ill.
Oh,
So I've had a day just to set the tone of where I'm at. And I'm just starting to eat now. It's a little bit better.
okay. Do you feel like, are you still okay to do the town hall right now?
Yeah. I
Okay.
need a break from driving. And I need to eat. I should stop for a moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Um, well, if you're, oh, there you are. Hi. um, so you're running for California governor. Um, for those that are just coming in, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running?
Yes. Okay. So I was born in Mexico. I grew up in the Valley and Bank. Since I was like 2 years old, I've been in the Valley, and now I live in Orange County. I am a UCLA student. I'm graduating next quarter with Earth and Environmental Science. And I think you mentioned I interned at NASA, and I did soft matter research there. It was we characterized very small particles, so that when people are in space, we could figure out what kind of particles they are based off of like the imaging. And before that, I interned at a plant biology lab where we made plant cells under a microscope to understand the mechanisms of the plant cell. That's just like a little snippet of my, I guess, my science background.
That's really cool. Awesome. Okay, awesome. So, what is making you want to run for California governor?
Yeah, so the campaign started May last year, so May 2025, when Trump got elected. I mean, a lot of us knew what was coming, or how bad it would be, and I was one of the people who, was speaking up and trying to make noise and make change, and I was waiting for the other governor candidates to use their platform and their names and the money that they have to fight for our rights, and like they weren't. So by May I just was like, okay, I'll do it. Like, somebody has to be brave enough to say, like, here's my full name, not under a spam account. Here's my full name, and I am like out here and I am calling for like accountability. I was one of the first ones that said arrest Christy Noem early 2025. And that was scary to do that back then.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad to see that you're running for such a huge role in California, especially for the state that has one of the highest GDPs in the country. And just a little background about what we do. Our Vote Counts is a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds. We're united by a shared commitment to empower voters and promote candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, and accountability in the upcoming elections. We're formed by a collective of educators, veterans, small business owners, students, and community advocates. And our vote counts represents the strength of unity across geography, race, and ideology. So while our stories are different, our mission is the same: to ensure that every voice is heard and every vote truly counts. We're more than a name. It's a promise, a movement, and a rallying cry for democracy. So together we are shaping the future, one informed vote at a time. And moving on to some of the questions, I just want to start off with an icebreaker question for you. What's a hobby that you've had to put on the...
I want to say that sounded like an anthem. I almost felt like putting my hand over my heart. Like, I was like, yes. I just wanted to tell you that, but go ahead with the icebreaker.
I could see the anthem, yeah. So just an icebreaker question for you. So what's a hobby you've had to put on the back burner since running your campaign?
Hobby. Gardening. I have not been able to grow any flowers or like tend to the garden. My boyfriend, they're being taken care of, but it's not by me, and I haven't grown anything new.
Okay. Well, yeah, gardening takes a lot of time, so yeah, I could see that. Okay, so starting off with some questions about housing affordability and homelessness. As a UCLA student, you've seen firsthand how expensive housing is for young people, especially in Los Angeles, where rents have surged in recent years. How would you expand affordable housing, not just for families, but also for students and first-time renters trying to stay in California?
For students and first-time renters. Okay. Well, first of all, yeah, it is very expensive. I couldn't live on campus because to me, I just couldn't. It was too expensive. It was $1,800 when I first got admitted to UCLA and accepted to UCLA, and $1,800 for a room shared by 3 people. So my share would be $1,800 to share a room with 3 people. So I do think that's out of control. Yeah. And so what my plan is on my website, it's been on there since last year, since May. I'm actually the first one, um, the first candidate to have an actual solution, and we're already doing it in some parts. Actually, I was just talking to someone today in Ventura City, in Mesa, in Ojai, and then I heard that down by the desert as well. But there's other areas in California that's already happening, tiny home villages. At the rate I heard today, I calculated that it would cost $60,000 per tiny house, because at the scale that we would do it, it would, the scale would, it would cost less for each, kind of like Costco, But the person I spoke with today said that there's a success story in Ojai for youth that did not have homes, and they had tiny home villages that still there, and it just took 2 years, and each one cost $70,000 to help people get back on their feet and like get jobs and like get their own apartments, and it's really beautiful. So I based my plan on tiny home villages where on site there'd be 24/7 mental health access, gardens, library, and like education if they want. Nothing's pushed on people, but it's just accessible, and it's actually a quarter of the price than what we're paying right now to criminalize people that don't have homes, because it costs, I think it went down from $169,000 per person per year to $129,000 per person per year. I mean, that's like a salary, a nice salary, to incarcerate a person. So if you spend like a quarter of that, you can actually help a person just get back on their feet. So I rearranged the budget so that we're doing less criminalizing and more just like building tiny home villages across all districts, and we'll save money that way. And it's available to community college students. So anybody coming out of high school that's planning to go to community college, and anybody who doesn't have a home.
Okay, perfect. Some people in the comments say it's a little hard to hear over the music. I apologize.
Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I'm sorry about that. Let me see if I can move outside, maybe. Okay, let me see if I can go outside.
And everyone else in here, if you're with us tonight, please share the live out with your friends and followers. Send your heart me. It's only one coin. Hit repost and just start tapping the live, and let's get our likes up.
Is the music? I think there's music out here too. Is it bad out here too?
I can hear you fine. Let me see if the chat can.
Okay.
Chat, can you hear Carolina okay? Still noisy?
Oh, they said it's still noisy? Okay.
Can you hear her, or is it too loud?
Let's see if they have speakers this side. How about here? Is this a little bit better?
I think so. I hear you okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Okay, so moving on to our second question. California has over 180,000 people experiencing homelessness, the highest in highest in the nation, and the housing costs continue to rise faster than wages. You've talked about rethinking systems that devalue human life. So what specific policies would you implement to reduce homelessness at scale while also making housing truly affordable?
Okay, yes, and that's also on my website. It's part of the policy bundle. So what I would do is do a universal rent cap. So annually the rent would not be able to go higher than 2%. And at the same time, from now on, every year, anyone who's renting would get 10% of what they spent on rent back as a stipend from the state. And that is tax-free. And that has also shown to help the economy twofold. So it actually helps the economy to do that because everyone ends up having a cushion. So every year, anybody who's renting will get 10% back what they spent on rent, but that's coupled with the rent cap so that landlords don't take advantage of that and raise rent more. And then at the same time, I know that there's people who own homes, like, small property owners that rent homes, and they're struggling too, so anybody who is a small, like they just own like maybe a couple properties, any small business owner, basically anybody who's not ultra rich will get 5 to 10% of a tax break on their taxes. And then the ultra rich would get taxed more, 6 to 8% more.
Okay. You say the ultra rich. Do you think you know kind of like where that salary starts at?
Yeah, it's over 500 million per year. So
Okay.
unless you're making that much, you're getting a tax break, you're getting rent, stipend every year. If you're a property owner, you're getting that tax break. And anybody who is of working age, every other year will qualify for a $10,000 stipend as long as they re-up 100 hours of any kind of community service. So it's like something you could look forward to and like start, building up a savings that way. And that also has shown to help the economy.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So another question for you. So California has been experimenting with solutions such as accessory dwelling units and zoning reforms to increase the housing supply. Do you support expanding these kinds of policies statewide, or do you believe California needs a complete different approach to solving the housing shortage?
Okay, so yeah, I actually spoke with someone last year that has 9 degrees in writing policy, specifically when it has to do with housing. And he looked at my policy bundle and he's like, I have some feedback. I'm like, okay, let's go. And so he said that if you really focus on middle housing, so middle housing is like anything that's more than a condo and less than like a single family home. And those tend to be, he called them bungalow courts. I don't know if you've ever seen a bungalow court, but it's basically a tiny home village. Yeah, so it's like when there's like 4 tiny homes on one lot where there would usually be one house. And actually a lot of people who own homes would like to do that. And now there is a way. I wrote it down somewhere, but there's a way, and you can actually just fill out a form, and then it changes your zone so that you can be approved to do that if you wanted to do that on your property. And then it helps everybody and it's kind of nice too because you get your own little community.
Yeah, okay. That's awesome. That's actually kind of a cute little idea. All right, awesome. Well, if anyone has any questions for Carolina, you can request up and ask, or you can type it in the chat. So far, I don't think I've seen any questions, so we'll move ahead to questions regarding the cost of living and economic inequality. Um, so the first one I have for you is California has one of the highest poverty rates in the country, around 17% when accounting for the cost of living, even though it has one of the largest economies in the world. So, as someone who has emphasized systemic change in your public messaging, what specific steps would you take to close the gap between high wages in some sectors and the rising costs facing everyday Californians. I know you said there was going to be a stipend of that 10%, so that's one idea. Do you have anything else you want to expound on as far as that goes?
Yes, this I need to explore more with people who write policy, but I do want to definitely make this very, it's a priority to make policy to make it illegal to price gouge, just generally for basics, like toilet, stuff that you buy every month, like laundry detergent, toilet paper, paper towels, like whatever it is that everyone tends to monthly basics. It should be illegal to like price gouge because I I think, I mean, you've probably noticed, but I know people who work at like the major, like, companies like Target and stuff like that, like people who work in retail. And they say that they've definitely had to go in and double the price. There's been times because people will pay it and then they'll have to go back in like literally the same week and double it again. Like that's how much we're being priced out. And I don't think that should be legal, because really the only people it benefits is like the ultra wealthy, like the billionaires, the corporations, and they're only doing it just to make money. And then meanwhile, it's kind of like we're supporting the billionaires. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense, and it should be illegal. And I want to apply that to rent as well. And we kind of did a little bit after the fires. I don't know if you remember with the insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense to me. Okay. So, as a current student who's worked in education and mentorship, you've seen how expensive it is for young people to build a future in California. So, what would you do as a governor to make it more realistic for recent graduates and working class young adults to stay, work, and afford life here in California?
Yeah, it's really hard in California. A lot of people are just rooming up, and like they just end up just staying, like having roommates, because it's really difficult to just have your own apartment. So I mean, I think everything I mentioned will help with that. Um, but I did speak with a lot of students when I've been at some protests, like at the detention center in Los Angeles. I spoke with a lot of college students there too, and they were telling me that they actually think that tuition shouldn't be so expensive because it's starting to like, also it's like kind of being price gouged. They're kind of taking it too far, and I agree. So I think we need tuition to be like lowered. I wish I could say like let's make college free, but I personally haven't figured how to get there yet at the point that we're at right now with how everything is intertwined, and how schools are funded. But I would love to get back there because that's how it used to be. College used to be free before Reagan. But I would like to like cut down on tuition. And then also there's regents, and usually only one of them can get voted in by students, and the rest of them are actually appointed by the governor. But I would prefer if all students would choose the regents. Like it would be up to the students to vote those people in, because they decide how money is spent and dispersed. And for example, in sports, a coach can make like $26 million a year. I don't really think that's fair, personally.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, I'm moving around so much. I'm gonna
No,
sit
no, you're good.
down because I don't have a desk and I am in a room where I don't really, yeah, but
We're
I think I'm
making it work.
comfortable now.
We're making it work.
Yes. So, thank you for being patient with me. Um, okay, so the last question I have for you regarding this subject we're on, you've highlighted the importance of innovation and long-term thinking in your background in environmental science.
Yes.
How would you apply that same mindset to create economic opportunities while also lowering everyday costs like housing, transportation, and utilities for Californian families.
So how would I like make the environment like do like environmental initiatives while making life in California more affordable?
I
Or
guess let me re-ask it. So, like the importance of innovation and long-term thinking, just kind of using those ways of thinking to apply that to economic opportunities.
okay, so personally, I think that our idea of what innovation is like, oh, anything that hasn't existed, you know? And I think that thinking that way is can be limiting because I have studied like ancient civilizations myself, and I personally really have, it's close to my heart, Ben Vivir, which has been around since before the 1600s. It's actually the type of civilization that has lasted the longest. So I think that we can go back into history, employ history majors, which, by the way, have a lot of trouble finding jobs. And, we can learn from ancient societies like Machu Picchu. Their geology is like very advanced. It's still there, and it's on a ridge of a
Yeah.
mountain. And they actually had tons of streams, and it's still going now, and it's so incredibly impressive. So a lot of times we think that like we're getting smarter, but I don't believe we're getting smarter, and I think AI is a big reason for that
Hmm.
because everyone's kind of leaning too much on AI and they're forgetting to think on their own for simple tasks. And so for me, when I hear innovation, I'm like, we really like need to kind of sometimes go back to see how we used to do things a long time ago because that was more advanced. So
I
I would,
agree, honestly.
yeah, you do?
I do. I feel like there was more of like a community back, like those groups like natives. They had like this thing where like you fall on hard times, they got your back. Like your neighbors were there for you, and it took a
Yes.
village. And we don't have
Yeah.
that mindset anymore today. So yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely
Exactly.
agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So I have this plan where if you want a job in California, you can have one, and it'll be like maybe 60 to 70,000 a year. So it's not a lot, but it's livable with the new system.
Hmm.
So anybody who would want a job, there will be a job for you because we have a lot of houses to build. We have a lot of like fire retrofitting to do. And it's like a lot of like what you just mentioned, like village, like it takes a village type of work to do, and it's long term. It's not like, hey, let's build the houses now, go find a job, your job's done. Like this would be ongoing, and so that way we nobody would have trouble finding a job because there's a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. Okay. Perfect. If anyone, again, if you have a question for Carolina, please request up. Don't be scared. We don't bite. Or you could type it in the chat and I'll ask her it. As of right now, oh, Eddie did say 26 million. I think that was from earlier. I think he was just like shocked by that number. Other than that, I don't see any questions at this time. So we'll move on to some rapid fire questions. So, just real short answers for you. Are you ready?
Okay, yes, I'm gonna focus on short answers.
Okay. Term limits, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. One issue your state currently ignores.
I mean, it is homelessness.
Okay. One thing you'd change about California on day one.
uh, we will arrest ICE. All ICE agents, all law enforcement who have been breaking the law and have been repeatedly reported to, we will be sweeping them up. and they
Okay.
will be held accountable.
I like that. In one sentence, why should Californians trust you with your vote or with their vote?
I think that, okay, in a short answer, I think that you shouldn't vote for any candidate that's been on TV, because if you look at who owns the media, that's your answer. And I think it's time for it not to be a man.
I second that. Mike in the comments says, "What is your take on the top two primary systems, and do you support RCV?"
Yes, I do. I think it should be moved to a ranked system. Yeah, for sure. I like it because right now I like it more than like another system, but I prefer ranking system, and I would like to change it to that, of course.
Okay. All right. I hope that answers your question, Mike. Moving forward, so we're gonna talk some more. Well, we're gonna talk about the water supply, drought, and wildfires in
Okay.
California.
All right.
So, California saw over 8,000 wildfires in 2025 alone, and climate change is making these events more frequent and intense. Given your background in environmental science and your focus on addressing systemic causes, what specific actions would you take as governor to both prevent wildfires and better protect communities when they happen?
Okay, the first thing that is really, really important is that we don't have a solid plan for the animals. They were really forgotten about. And it was really heartbreaking to see the deer who like lost their family. There were dogs roaming, like,
Oh,
people lost their pets. Like, there was no plan for the animals, and it was really heartbreaking. So I would like to, employ local animal organizations for each region, plus specialists to create a custom plan for each district, that like prioritizes the animals as well, so that we don't forget about the animals. And then what was your other question? With the environment, we need to educate everyone so that they understand that human impact for sure increases the severity and the frequency of fires and other things, even earthquakes, believe it or not. Humans, well, our behavior can make it so there's more frequent and more intense earthquakes.
oh, okay. I actually didn't know that, so that's interesting. But I could see it too. Is it like caused by like drilling and things like that, or what do you think
Yeah,
is
I
like
mean,
one of the main causes we do?
yeah. Well, with when you increase production, which right now we're producing for 10 people per person. So we should not be doing, at this rate that we're going. I hate to say it, but like, it's true. I'm going to sound crazy, but it's true. Ask anyone in my department. In about 20 years, everyone on Earth, because I've seen maps where like all the locations around the globe, are tied together in terms of where we get different types of food. We're all interconnected because of free trade, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But because of that, it doesn't matter which parts of the world are going to start, like, the ecologies are going to end, because that will affect everyone else's food sources for that type of food. And so in about 20 years, the whole world will begin starving. And this is, I know I sound crazy, but it's true. And this is irreversible. So unless we slow down the rate of production, this is going to happen. But I sound like I know what I sound like, but my major is Earth and
Um,
Environmental Science at UCLA.
well, yeah, that I would trust your word over just some random, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I don't think anyone that says anything kind of sounds crazy because nothing can be disproven unless, unless it really can be. So if it's not able to be disproven, I still take it into consideration. I may not,
Consideration.
so I like to listen to what everyone thinks, and I may not
Yeah.
agree, but yeah,
I
no,
see
but
some
with that,
questions. Oh yeah, go ahead.
oh no, with that, I was just gonna say, I feel like a lot of people have talked about, like a famine coming, they just don't know when, so yeah, I mean, you don't sound crazy at all to me as far as
Thank
that goes.
you. Thank you. I'm not trying
um,
to scare anyone.
mhm. The first question in the chat, have you met the requirements to officially be on the ballot?
Yes. I am on the ballot. And I got a call from the Secretary of State office from one of the lawyers who had to confirm my designation. You know, like the title under your name, where it says like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So they have to verify that. You have to show proof. Like they have all these parameters. It's very difficult. Um, and so, based on the documentation I provided, she happily wrote a civil rights advocate based on the frequency of my work. It has to be like full time work where you dedicate your whole life to it. And I provided that. So, yeah, I've met all the requirements. I will be on the ballot. And I saw that someone asked a question about Trump too. I don't know if we missed it. Let's see.
Do you support taking down Trump and his whole wicked regime, and how would you go about it?
Oh, I love this question. How am I going about it? Please do this, everybody. Please write this down or remember it. Google citizens impeachment courage candidates. Citizens impeachment courage candidates. It's a coalition now of 120 candidates running across 32 states for Congress to flip the House so that we can get that guy out of office, to get Trump out of office. And we're winning some seats already. I'm pretty sure we already got 5 candidates through, and our coalition is growing. And I'm the first governor candidate that they endorse because they're all congressional candidates. But because of my
Mm-hmm.
work, my efforts, since I've been like fighting for our rights against this administration, I was the first governor candidate. So this is what we've been doing, and I think you can tell because Kristi Noem got fired, and then now Trump's turning his back on Marco Rubio and Hegseth, and I always said that they eat each other. You just kind of like
Oh yeah.
have to push it in that right direction. So that's what we've been doing.
All right, perfect. You said it was called Citizens Impeachment. What again?
Citizens impeachment courage candidates. You can
Courage
Google it.
candidates.
Yes, please Google it, and then please vote on those candidates in your area. You can search by state, and then just when you go to vote, make sure you're voting for those names because all of those have pledged to bring that guy down, and those officials in this administration that have been doing crimes against humanity.
All right, perfect. Let me type it in the chat um, so people may be able to go look at it later on. And citizens impeachment courage candidates. All right, that's awesome. I didn't know that existed, so thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the next question, we were talking about wildfires, water supply, and drought. You've talked about understanding the root causes of system collapse on your website. So how would you apply that thinking to California's ongoing drought and water shortages, especially when balancing the needs of cities, agriculture, and environmental protection?
Okay, yeah, this is a big one. And actually, one of my classes that I took this quarter, geology engineering, we learned a lot about groundwater and access to clean water and all of that, and water rights. It's kind of like the wild, wild west right now, actually, because it's all underneath us. Yeah, that one is a really hard one because there's something called a water master. First of all, I don't like the name of that, a water master. And they get to decide like where wells, like new wells are placed for access. But the thing is that groundwater might have been accessed by like someone like in on their property. They might have been dependent on it, you know? So if that water master chooses that supply, then like the person who owns property that's been dependent on that just like it's kind of a big mess. So it's hard to answer right now very quickly, but it is a really huge priority, and most of our water does come from cattle, like raising cattle for beef.
Mm-hmm.
And then grocery stores buy like 3 times more than they even sell because there's quotas on how much they can buy. I mean, like, yeah, there's minimums. So they have to buy way more than they would ever sell, knowing that. And then they have to the meat away. So we're literally wasting so much water. That's like the largest percentage of water that we're using for meat that we're throwing away knowingly. So I would really like to work on that, but like not screw over, farmers. Like we could like subsidize them so that they don't like lose the farm. But I would really want to focus on that for water because that's where most of it is going.
So not only are they wasting food, they're wasting water. Oh wow. Okay.
Just for money.
Sounds like
just for money.
Sounds about right for big corporations and big government. Okay. As someone with a science background who's worked in education and research, what innovative or science-driven solutions are you most excited about when it comes to improving water sustainability and reducing the wildfire risk across California?
Yes. So this is more on the radical side, but I would really like everyone like to stop like working on like whatever we're doing right now. If it's not like giving back to nature and like making sure that like everything we do is balanced with nature or taking care of each other, then like I would prefer, or I would let's say I would incentivize. Okay, I would incentivize and make it possible and this is the same jobs that I was telling you about, where I said if anybody wanted a job. I want everyone to just literally stop whatever they're doing, and then we would only focus on taking care of like the land and stop like taking from the land and taking care of each other. And then that is the job. You would get paid for that. And that would significantly reduce fires, the intensities, and the frequency, and other major weather situations. I forget what they're called, but you know what I mean.
Okay. Awesome. Again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to request up or type them in the chat. We will read them out.
I know that one was a little radical.
Oh, no. So we're going to move on to immigration and racial divide. Okay. So the first question regarding this subject, California is home to about 27% of all immigrants in the United States, and nearly 1 in 2 children has at least one immigrant parent. So as someone who's emphasized inclusion and long-term societal stability, how would you ensure immigrant communities are both protected and fully integrated into California's economy and education system?
Okay, yeah, and that's another great question because, like, we know that people who are not citizens can pay taxes, and they actually paid billions into taxes. We know that. So if they became citizens, they could even pay even more taxes, as much taxes as everyone else. And because I'm aligned with these candidates that are running for Congress,
Mm-hmm.
I would actually have a lot of friends in Congress because there's like 450 congressmen and women. So if
Oh.
I'm friends with 120, we're growing, and a huge portion of that make it into Congress. I would be aligned with Congress a good chunk, so we could like make headway finally, so that we can make direct pathways to citizenship. Everybody would still be vetted, but we would fund more people to vet for the process so that it could
Mm-hmm.
happen faster.
Okay. Well, it's good
They're
that you have
already
all those
here.
connections, and
Yeah.
no, that's perfect actually. So the Congress people that you're connected with, is it California House or U.S. and California? And...
It's yeah, federal.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so you've spoken about building systems that value people and community. How would you address racial divisions across California, especially in the areas where disparities in education, housing, and policing still disproportionately affect communities of color?
Okay, so what was the first part of the question?
How would you address racial divisions across California, especially in areas where the
Okay.
disparities in education, yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, I mean it's a really hard one because it is systemic, but I guess yeah, I do talk about that a lot. I mean, for me, the immediate thing is decertifying all law enforcement that has been reported repeatedly for unnecessary, unreasonable, and malicious brutality, which
Hmm.
happens every single day. And so that would get rid of like thousands and thousands of law enforcement that, and then it would de-incentivize anybody else from taking that pathway. And then I also would make it so, because right now you can be a police officer if you graduated high school and then go through their academy, but I would make it so that they at least have their associates in something with like sociology, psychology, something where they understand society, at least an associate's in that. And I would that's where I would start because I mean they don't a lot of police officers they don't know the law.
Hmm.
And so yeah, decertification, higher education standards for law enforcement. I think that would help with like preventing a lot of the trauma that's caused on the youth.
Hmm.
Um, and then it would just take a lot of education prioritization for like for what I learned at UCLA. I would want that to be taught like early on, like in elementary school, like the realities, like yeah, it might be hard for kids to learn what our society has done, um, but I think that they have to know. I think that we can't hide the truth from them, because then you can't stop it from happening in the future. So I think we all kind of have to accept that we're going to have to let the kids grow up a little bit early for society to change.
Right. Okay. Someone in the comments has said they have a couple questions for you. So, first one, how can California do better to work without being scared and continue to keep paying their share for our immigrant community?
Um, okay, not being scared and then paying their share. Oh, okay, yeah, like they're afraid to go out and work because, but and then how will they contribute if they're afraid to go out and work? Like, yeah, like I'm afraid. I was born in Mexico. I'm a citizen, but like I'm a Latina, and um,
Mm-hmm.
Latinx, my family, like they're, like visibly the target. So yeah, all of us are afraid. I know everybody's actually afraid since Renee Good, So valid question, first of all. I think that because the first day, and I've said this already before, and I am dedicated into sweeping up and like convicting because we can by law, and we all know that it's just law enforcement is scared of federal agents, and that's why they don't like sweep them up. But as governor, I would write a directive clarifying what the law already is, and directives are taken very seriously. And I know this for a fact because I've had chiefs of police tell me that if the governor wrote such a directive, they would have to follow it because that's how serious directives are. And the
Mm-hmm.
governor knows this. I've told him and the attorney general, and he hasn't since early last year. So that would be like the first directive that I would write on the first day. And I think that that would kind of like set the tone of what's allowed here in California.
Okay. Um, let's see. And the second question, why should Latinos believe and trust that you would do what you promise, not just get our vote?
Um, because I would rather die than be, I don't know, what you would, a lying politician. That's not what I'm about. I don't know how to make it more clear. Besides that, a lawyer at the Secretary of State reviewed what all the actions that I have taken since last year and has confirmed that it is beyond full-time work that I have devoted my life to fighting for our rights. So I don't think I would be lying because I'm already doing it.
Okay, perfect. So California is one of the most diverse states in the country with no single majority group. What opportunities do you see in that diversity, and how would you bring people together across cultural and racial lines to strengthen the state as a whole?
I would I mean, I think we do have a semi-majority because it is Spanish speaking right now. I think it's over 40% in California. But I know what you're saying. It's really about educating and like just okay, fine, let's stop using the word diversity if that's so problematic. Whatever. But I had training in community college when I was a tutor. They didn't just hire me. I actually had to pass a class. It took a whole semester, and I had to get training for diversity and all of that. And really, the whole point is that you can have a more successful society, company, whatever the project is, the more different all the minds think and backgrounds that they come from, the better the results are time and time again. That's the whole point of diversity. It's not like giving people a chance that are not qualified. That's not even what diversity is. It's actually celebrating everyone's differences. And that has, like I said, time and time again. So if people really just understood that, like reality, that things are better with diversity, um, I think that would help. But also, I think propaganda is a huge problem that we need to prioritize counteracting with like a stronger force because it's very, very strong right now.
I agree. And it's funny that you say people are so scared of the word diversity, and it's so true. But I still make it a point to use that word where it makes people feel uncomfortable because it's crazy that that is something that makes people uncomfortable. Um, you kind of gotta dig deep and figure out like where they come from and if they've ever had exposure to other backgrounds or if they've gotten to travel or anything, because it seems like the people that have the biggest problems with it don't necessarily get outside of their bubble. So
That could be it. That could be it. Yeah, actually. And I
it's
was,
multiple things, but yeah,
no, yeah, that's true. And propaganda, you know. Propaganda is very strong, but
propaganda is huge.
they target that type of person, you know, that hasn't had the ability to get outside of their bubble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They're targeted.
and I noticed that a lot here in Texas, actually, because I work in a small town, but I live in Dallas. So when I drive to work, the city I work in is just a very red area. Um, although I found it actually really cool that Jasmine Crockett got most of the votes here for the Democratic primary, and the people that showed up in that county, it was just amazing to see. But just going to the bookstore there, they had Charlie Kirk books or CK books. I'm sorry. Apparently, TikTok doesn't like. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if we can say his name. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
I'm gonna
about.
say CK books. It had like Fox News books. It had anti-vax books. Just all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, where is I don't know. It was just kind of like, is this even a bookstore? Why does this look so cozy? But y'all have all this crazy propaganda stuff written by Peter Thiel. I'm like, this is wild. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just there was not really a good selection, and I just find that disappointing. But
It's on purpose. It's on purpose.
mm-hmm,
Because I had to study it. I took one political science class at UCLA. We had to study like how they get the votes, you know, and sometimes it takes 2 terms to get a vote. And for Trump's, that was fostered. The ignorance is fostered to make like the internet not work as well in certain areas. They take away libraries in certain areas. It's all on purpose.
yep, yep, absolutely. Um, all right. So I don't see any more questions at the moment. So we'll go ahead and move on to California state issues. So California is facing a projected multi-billion-dollar budget deficit, with some estimates around 30 to 40 billion dollars in recent cycles. As someone who has emphasized data-driven thinking through your academic background, uh, how would you prioritize spending while still protecting essential programs like education, healthcare, and the climate initiatives?
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that. A lot of the climate initiatives are not really climate initiatives. I hate to say it. They're just kind of like ways to spend money, and they're titled climate initiatives. I learned that at UCLA too through academic work. I'm just gonna get an orange juice because I'm getting a little dehydrated.
Oh, that's fine.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I just have my keys out. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of things that are titled or framed as environmental. I know I'm satisfying people who vote red right now, but they're actually not really environmentally friendly, and they're just used to waste a lot of money. I'm just saying the truth. But for example, $50 billion is spent in California. 50 billion. The budget I think is like 340 billion, something like that in California. So 50 billion is used for the carceral system. So like prisons, law enforcement, detention centers. Like I know the detention centers are federal, but we have to pay for them. It's a forced contract. So all together it's like $50 billion. So, and I already talked about what I would do with that. So I would redirect those funds by defunding, like LAPD. They're actually one of the largest, police departments that spend the most money. And I'm not gonna just like make it so we have no police at all. But I would rather pay like neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
like community policing. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So I would rather like spend money on that, and then there's billions of dollars that I would redirect to all the things that you mentioned, like education and like things that actually help the environment, like employing any Californian to do something that helps the environment or people.
Okay. Well, I agree with that. A lot of people find it scary to like defunding the police is kind of a scary thing before you go into detail about it. But honestly, it seems like all the money we put into the justice system, um, and then it's just like the way that the justice system is now, which is severely messed up, to put it
Yeah,
in nice terms.
very
Um,
good description.
we're wasting our money, and that's where like some of me like doesn't like big government, but I understand it can be a good thing if it's done properly, and it just seems like it. No one has held government accountable to make things run perfectly or almost near perfectly. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but yeah, I don't know. I'd rather trust my neighbors at this point than. So
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. Okay. Uh, so from traffic congestion in Los Angeles to public transportation gaps across the state, infrastructure continues to impact daily lives. What practical changes would you make to improve transportation and make commuting more affordable and efficient for Californians?
Well, I think that we should look at, for example, Germany, like Berlin, and like take their model because it's so easy. You do not even need a car to get across such large distances in Europe, but also just within Germany. It's designed really, really well. And so many Californians have said that they wish that there was something like that because then they could get a job far away and then still live where they live.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, like, when you commute, you don't get paid for commuting.
Yeah.
So it costs money and it takes extra time. So that's definitely something I would prioritize just because everybody wants that. And bike
Mm-hmm.
lanes. Because we need way more bike lanes everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so, as a younger candidate with a background in science and education, you obviously bring a different perspective than traditional politicians. What do you think California is getting right now, and how would you build on those successes to move the state forward?
Okay, I mean, I do like how they started building more of those tiny home villages that I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
when I announced my campaign, I was interviewed June 1st, I believe, by my school, and that's when Newsom was like negotiating federal funds to my school, and the day right after they posted, like, because I talked about the tiny home villages and the economy and all of that, the day right after, a policy that had been sitting on his desk for 10 years, or on that desk for 10 years, finally got approved from him to allow people to develop the tiny home villages without being held back by regulations because it's already environmentally friendly. So I like that happened. That's something I like.
Okay. And no shame on Newsom. I like the way he has clapped back at Trump on social media, or his social media team has done it rather. But I have heard from both left leaning and right leaning people that live in California that they just don't think that Newsom has handled the budget correctly in California, and that there's some discrepancies with Newsom. How do you feel about that?
I think he's done weird things that I really don't agree with. Like, I believe it's SB 715, which was like an education thing. So it made it so that all teachers basically can't be openly pro Palestine or teach about what's really happening over there, because
Oh,
then it would be classified as like being against people who are Jewish. And it's
wow.
very
Okay.
similar. Yeah, it's messed up. And then all the ACLU is against it. The Teachers Association is against it. That's how you know it shouldn't happen. And it mimics Russia in terms of how, like, like they kind of spy on each other and they're forced to report each other. And if you don't report someone, you can get in trouble. You can get reported for not reporting, and it's really horrible. And it passed, and Newsom, gave his okay, and that's why it's right now it's law. Messed up.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I didn't know that, so that makes me a little. Anyways, I'm not going to put my opinion into
It's
this
messed up. It's
conversation.
messed up. It is.
But I do have some friends that live in LA, and they don't want to see him run for president in 2028. Is and they're not right leaning; they're left leaning. So I don't know. I just wanted your opinion as well. So thank you for sharing that. So we're gonna move on to some more rapid fire questions, but these are gonna be the fun ones. So all right. Number one, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay, same. Sports games or concerts?
Concerts.
Okay. Mountains or the beach?
Beach.
Okay. Sweet or salty foods?
Salty.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Okay. Book or movie?
Movie.
Okay.
I read
Talk.
books, but yeah.
No shame. Tacos or pizza?
Tacos.
Okay. And then calling or texting?
Calling. Or in IRL.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Um. All right. Again, anyone, if you have a question for Carolina, we still have several minutes left. Please request up to ask the question or type it in the chat and I'll ask it for you. Um, let's see. So we went over most of the subjects on my list here, but do you have anything that you want to add? Like about your campaign or how people can fund you? Um,
Yes, yes. If you would like to volunteer, you don't have to live in California to volunteer, because you could help like coordinate, and, you can help design flyers or get stuff out on social media. But if you are in California and would like to volunteer, please reach out to me. It's Carolina_4_California, or you just Google me, I'll come right up. On Instagram, I respond right away, or through my website, the team responds pretty quickly. We're growing our volunteer base, and that's like our main focus right now because votes come from real life interaction, not social media. And that's kind of our advantage because mainstream candidates are lazy and full of themselves. And they think that they're going to get voted in just by, name recognition. But the reality is, time and time again through history, that votes come from real life interactions. And so if you want to be part of that, we would gladly welcome you with open arms.
Awesome, awesome. So if you're elected, what is the one change you hope Californians would feel in their everyday life? Oh, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. What change would you hope that they feel in their everyday lives within your first year as governor?
Peace, like inner peace and freedom. Because like freedom is being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, as long as it doesn't hurt someone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that right now. We're very, very censored and limited, and so I would want people to feel, I guess, safe. That's the best word. Feel safe, feel inner peace, and like, free to live however they would like.
Absolutely. Okay. You've taken a non traditional path into public life as a student and a researcher. What drives you personally to step into leadership at this level, and what keeps you grounded?
So I just did it because I was called. I don't know. I have no good answer other than I had to do it. You know, I just
Yeah.
think it should be done, and no one's doing it, so I'm doing it. But now a lot of people are, and a lot of people are doing it, and I'm really proud of all of us, and I'm so proud of us all. But what keeps me grounded is all of my supporters. They're very, very loving, kind, strong people. They keep me accountable, but like they also like, they're there for me if I need them. I won't ask, they know. And honestly, that helps me. It really does help me to have people that believe in me, because it's really hard work, and when you're tired, um, it's really hard to keep going and think clearly. So my supporters, they push me all the time to rest and to keep going.
Okay. And for voters who may still be undecided or they're just learning about you, what do you want them to understand about who you are, not just as a candidate, but as a person?
um, I hope that they can just see that I'm not a politician, and I'm just like all of us that like can see what's messed up, and like I'm determined to do something about it and support anybody else that is determined to do something about it.
Okay. Oh, and what is your final word for this evening? Like, what's your message to voters as they head towards election day?
My message, I don't vote for anyone who's on TV. I said that earlier, but
Oh,
honestly,
yeah,
because
okay.
there's so many candidates, and so just if you've seen them on TV, don't vote for them, and don't judge anybody based on what they say. Base it on what they've been doing and what they are doing right now, especially in 2025. What did they do in 2025?
Right. Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, thank you, Carolina. This has been a pleasure getting to know you and your purpose and what drove you to run for governor. Um, so again, thank you for coming and speaking with us tonight. We do want to invite you and our audience to our next event. We will be having Sabrina Newby running for Georgia House on Tuesday, March 24th at 8 p.m. And then that same day, we're going to have Matt Fulmer, who's running in South Carolina for U.S. Congress District 1 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, I'm sorry. Sabrina's 6 p.m. and he's 8 p.m. My apologies.
Oh, okay, okay.
Uh,
I took a snapshot. So I'm like, they need to join our coalition.
yeah, absolutely. That would be great. We also, for candidates, we do a roundtable every other Sunday. Our next one coming up is March 29th. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So noon your time, I believe. Pacific
Okay.
Standard. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so not tomorrow, but the next Sunday. And we get different people that are running for different offices to come together and talk about current events and their ideas and things like that. So if you would like to join us, then you're more than welcome to. Um, Also, anyone out there that would like to interview candidates like I am doing this evening, please message us. OVC is looking for mods. So if you would like to become a part of the team, send us a DM. Um, Again, I want to remind everyone OVC is a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life. Oh, yes, join our Discord too. The link is in the bio. We are a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. So, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Thank you, Carolina, and I wish you good luck in the midterms.
Thank you so much. It was so great to talk to you. And yeah, I'll try to join in on those dates. That would be awesome.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, and you have a great evening and get some rest.
I'll get some rest. Okay,
All
bye.
right.